Okay, hey, here we are. Do do do. Dum de dum dum dum. Okay, I'm gonna move my camera over a little bit there. Okay, there we go. We'll see how that view looks. That's a little bit different. Okay. Hey, hello everybody. Good morning. Yeah. Feel free to chat. I already got a viewer or two. Looks like. All right. Cool. Um, we're gonna wait a couple of minutes to see if more people come in, and then I'll start this whole thing. Let's do a little prep work though. Might as well before I dive in full on. I always like to add a nice reverb and delay to my setup because why not? Um, so grab me. I'm gonna grab me a reverb. I'm gonna grab. Let's use a different delay. Let's use that there pulsar delay. Okay. Uh, well, reverb's easy. Yoink. I mean, yeah, yoink, yoink, level all the way up. I don't like feedback. I don't like that. Let's do a little damping. Let's crank this guy up. Okay. Now, pulsar delay is kind of weird. There are multiple stages of delay in this thing. So, like over here is a delay, and then here is the rest of the delay. So you kind of have to adjust both. Um, the in and the out is the same. The other thing is this. Okay, we don't want any dry signal. So that turns all the way down, and then the wet goes all the way up. And that's the same as just turning the level up here. You notice it says right there in tiny little letters, dry/wet. So that's kind of the mix between the two. This has individual controls for the two of them. Um, so yeah, pre-sync time left. Let's do sure that, and then we'll just crank this up a little bit, and then same thing on this one. Okay. And we'll see how that sounds later. Okay, so we're talking note tracks today. Now, I've got a project with my 8th graders that they're still a little baffled by. Um, but what I thought would be kind of interesting is take a piece of music, classical music, and actually make note tracks out of it. Okay. And let me see if I can find a copy of it really quickly. I think there's actually one on the Wikipedia page. Excerpts. We don't want excerpts. We want the actual thing. Okay. Sheet music. Well-tempered clavier, book 1. Okay, well, I kind of was already there. Prelude in C major. I don't want a recording. There we go. Okay, arrangements and transcriptions. We don't want to. You can actually look at the original Bach score from way back in the day, which is crazy and interesting. And how did they read their writing back then? That's what I don't understand. That stuff is like seriously chicken scratch and crazy. Um, yeah. Let's find a nice clear one here. I think this one's pretty good. Yeah. Take a couple seconds. There we go. Okay. So if we take a look at this, um, even if you don't know necessarily how to read notes, okay, there's still some stuff that you can do. All of these are basically chords. Like if I played it on piano, okay, um, all of this stuff that's on here is basically a chord, like ah, like that, and then it's just broken up into one note at a time. But if you notice, it's the same pattern, which makes things a little easier. We go here, 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 and then those last three notes, we just repeat them again. Okay, so like and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is a really easy piece that we can do to just kind of play with note tracks and stuff. And in order to do that, of course, we need an instrument, because Audiotool doesn't start with like, here, have some note tracks. This will work for you, and so on. It don't work that way. Okay, so we also are going to need a slower tempo. So this guy we can put down like, I don't know. There's no tap tempo, unfortunately. So like, I don't know how fast that really is. I don't know. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, 78 it is. Cool, I lucked out. So we need to grab a synthesizer. Now the cool thing is, and this is the great thing about digital music, and honestly using a thing called MIDI. MIDI is musical instrument digital interface, and really what we're dealing with here are musical tracks that aren't sound; they're just data. Okay, you notice what happened? I grabbed one of these guys, and it automatically made a note track pop up. Okay. Hello, extra sour. Why are you so sour? Too many lemons. Ah, 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 ah. Okay, so anyways, here we got our note track. Now there's nothing in it yet, right? It's not going to do anything. Like we can't hit play and then we'll hear the synthesizer, because that doesn't make sense. Okay, you got to tell it what to do, and if you don't have fingers and you're not playing it, okay, then that is a problem. All right, so let's just first of all let's color this bad boy. Because the default like bright pink obnoxious thing is, well, it's obnoxious. All right, so we have two parts here. We've got the synth part, which is the sound, and then we have the notes that we're playing with the synth part, which are in our note tracks, and that doesn't exist yet. Okay, so here is the cool thing about this box song. Every single rhythm in here is exactly the same. Sort of. Okay, if you think of this, the timing of these as being 16th notes, so 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and then everything is a 16th note. It's just that the first two are like a little bit longer. They're technically held, but we could tweak that with the synthesizer and do some interesting stuff with it. Okay, but that key, that 16th note key, that is important, because that brings me to our snapping. All right. So how to go through these steps? First of all, once you have the note track there, you double click to create your region. Okay. You have to double click it again to open it up. Oh, there it is. And in order, especially if you're on, I mean, I'm on a giant monitor, or a giant, it's 27 inches, so it's a nice size monitor. And if you have a smaller screen, then you want to make sure you kind of maximize your real estate here. We can drag this down and expand this. Okay, this is as big as it gets, I guess, for me. But we can also zoom in a little bit on the notes down here. There's a little plus or minus. That works really well. Now we can play the little keyboard. Wee, fun! Interesting vocals. Oh no, server connection. Man, that would stink if this thing went down while doing a live stream. That'd be annoying. Be like, oh, everybody's on Audiotool now because everyone's stuck at home. Wouldn't be surprised. Hello, more viewers. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Feel free to chat. Ask questions would be a great idea. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm gonna drink me some coffee. So here's the key. Okay, right now, if I did this thing and I was like, well, here's my notes, and so I need to put my notes in. Here's my notes, and then there we go, and there's the notes. Okay. Nope. And then see, here's the cool thing, right? And we'll get into this more a little bit later as well. And if I played that, it's way too fast. It's like crazy cracked out chipmunk fast. Okay. So we obviously don't have the right rhythm, okay? A 64th note is 16 notes per beat, okay? So, like, here's my beat. Count to 16 on each one of those, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, okay, that's counting to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's counting to 8. So, like, it's just insanely fast, okay? So, we take our snap off of smart and we put it down to 16th note. And if you notice, what instantly happened was down here, the size of the grid changed. And as you change these things, you can see this happening, dynamically, instantly. Now, Smart Snap is great based on your zoom level. So if you zoom way in, I'm at 128th notes now. That's 32 notes per beat. If I zoom way out, I'm still at 32nd notes. And now I'm at where? Now I'm at 16th notes. Okay, that's a little bit too small for me. So if you keep it on Smart Snap, be aware that your zoom level will completely affect how you actually put rhythms in. Right. So I'm going to click it manually. I'm just going to stick it on 16th note, and I'm going to find my notes again. So here's my C4. All right. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Get them a little chunkier. All right. So C4 goes to E, goes to G. And yes, I know this song by heart. Okay. I'm not necessarily reading it off of the music, but if you wanted to look at it again, here it is. C4 is middle C. That guy right there. All right, we can embiggen this massively. Whoa, good morning. All right, so that guy right there, that first note is C4, and you see it popping up all over the place here. All right, just once you know that, once you identify it, then you can do some stuff with it. All right, so here we go. We have C, E, G, and now we have a C again, and then an E again. There it is. Hey. And then we repeat these last three notes. Now, we could do this manually. We could just, double click. It's easier now that we've got these here. And you notice that when you go to a new region, it puts this little white line across there. So you can just easily make it match up. But there is, of course, an easier way, which is to take the last three notes, click, drag, and select them. Hold your control key, and then move them over. And anytime you hold your control key, you're copying. Ah, okay, there we go. All right, now this is in a very raw state. So it's not polished yet. It is just the notes. That's all we got. That's it. Okay. Now, the other cool thing about this prelude, back to it here. So bright. Oh my gosh. The other thing about this prelude, hey, where is my webcam? Well, there's my webcam. Well, it's supposed to be in this guy right here, and it's not really doing it, is it? It's not in there. I'm going to fix that really, really quick here so you can see my wondrous face. Open the source properties. Okay, yeah, it's there. It exists. Okay. But for some reason, okay, I'm just going to deal with it. All right, never mind. I'm not going to fix it now. Working yesterday. Stupid thing. All right. If you notice, though, here's what I was trying to say as I got sidetracked again. This first chunk of the entire measure here, this first do, this just repeats. And for almost the entire piece, every measure is the same thing twice. The only time that changes is way, way down here at the end. Wait, this is not right. What is this? This is not the actual full song. Weak sauce. Short preludes. Oh, so it's been edited. Okay, doesn't matter. All right. At the very, very end, if you look at the original music, it goes into some like this. Okay, so it does a different thing, but only in the last two measures. Everything else is just a repeat, which means you could take all of this stuff and just Plop. Done. Now, if we were being totally picky about the length of the notes, we could take these first two and just lengthen them manually. And so on. Okay? Could do that. It's a little obnoxious. A little loud. Okay. We could do that. I mean, I don't know if I really like it. There's another option. It's okay. It's cool, I guess. I guess it works, sorta, kinda. But sorta, kinda, no. I did this yesterday, too. I'm gonna have to disable this. I have a hotkey right there on my keyboard, and it just, like, freaks out, and I hit it accidentally with my pinky. Okay. So, as I was saying, I don't know if I want to do this officially like that. I think I might want to just use sounds, which you can do. So you see there's a sort of a gray area here. There is, yes, I can make a note track, but how the sound of the synthesizer reacts to that note track, that's a different story. That's a different thing entirely, okay? So, once again, hello viewers. Welcome. Just doing some note track stuff today. Feel free to comment, ask questions, whatever. You know, that's why I'm doing. That's why we here.
That is why we are here.
Yes. So here's my first measure. Now here's the cool thing. We can take this entire measure and just copy it over. Okay, and there it is twice. And then so the format is still the same 16th notes and so on, but the notes are a little bit different. And some of them are the same, some of them have changed. So here's our first two measures. And so on, okay? And so each time that we get to a new measure, we have a new set of notes, but a lot of them are going to be the same. And so there's some other creative editing things that you can do. So for example, because we have the same exact note twice in a row in each of these patterns, like, right, here's the entire set, and then here's the entire set repeated exactly. We could just move both of these notes at once, okay? And I know this one is a D, and this should go to a G. So all of this, I think that's it. Or is it a B there? No, that's right. Okay. And then whoa, what just happened there? Dang it. I don't want you to unzoom. Things are small enough as it is. And then the first measure just repeats again, and we can see this in the music. Here's our first measure over yonder, okay? And then here's our fourth measure, and it's exactly the same. So don't reinvent the wheel, just take the first measure and just drag it over, right? Like, there you go. Okay, start from the beginning. Okay, cool. Let's do something with the sound, because like if I have to listen to that sine wave going boo-doo-doo-doo-doo the entire time, I'm gonna go stir crazy, right? I'm gonna go a little nuts. So first thing I would like to do is probably turn it up to a sawtooth wave. Super bright, super harsh. Okay, and we can tune it. We can make it a little bit thicker. Turn one of these oscillators up about maybe 10 cents. Yeah, I mean, that works. Okay. But the real magic is going to come in the filter right here. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go full on old school Moog sound here with the square wave. And I'm going to tune this guy like this. And then the other thing I want to do is an envelope. Okay, so all I did was I turned up the release time. The release time, if you think about like a piano, if I play the note fast and let it die away, it's instantly gone. If I did that on a harp and just went bling and plucked a string, it would keep going. Unless I manually stuck my hand on the string to mute it, which sometimes that is done. But for the most part, that is a sound that kind of takes a while to die away. Same thing with a guitar, right? Play a guitar, string on a guitar, and bling, and it rings for a while, okay? Coffee break. All right, so we can tweak the sound as we like. The other thing, of course, we can do is add more parts. Like, we don't have to keep it. A cent is 1/100th of a step. Okay? So if you take the note between like C and C sharp or B and C and you chop it up into tiny, tiny little bits, that's what a cent is. Okay? And there's sort of a tolerance as to like what humans can recognize as a new sound or a new note, right? Like it's like a temperature. Okay, I believe, and I might be wrong in this, but I think like when temperature changed to like Fahrenheit or something, or when the guy invented the Fahrenheit scale, basically a degree was the smallest amount of difference that an average person could feel. So it's totally subjective. Like it's not, it's not super scientific or anything. Like Celsius scale is a little bit more scientific, which is of course why they use it in science.
Science.
Okay, back to it here. I want to get a little stream deck for stuff like that, for transitions and stuff. I think that'd be kind of cool. They make those little bitty ones now. They're like that big. Like 6 buttons on them. Be perfect. Okay, so here we got our thing. Now we can also envelope the filter, okay, so that the brightness or the tone of the sound changes over time. And we can do some really interesting stuff with that. We need to change the amount. Now, when you turn the amount up and it starts affecting the filter, then it's basically like turning this knob up and down really, really fast. So sometimes we have to turn the knob down to compensate. Okay, if I turn it down to 4 right now, it's like super muffled. Now, if I turn the amount up, you notice what happened? Is interesting, yes? It's nice. And of course, then we run it through our delay and our reverb. Let's keep going with this. Okay, now here's the cool thing once again. I'm going to duplicate that measure. And... oh, God, what did I just do? Oh, jeez. Okay. All right, so the program that I work with, like the professional music program that I work with, which is called Reason, the hotkeys for it, that's why that keeps happening, because I keep pressing Control and Shift and then scrolling the mouse wheel in order to zoom a certain way, and on a browser, it just makes the whole thing zoom in. Yeah, keeps freaking me out a little bit. All right, so we're on measure 5, and that goes A, E. Oh, this is going to be more difficult. Let's undo that. Let's raise the top one. And then the middle one. Like so. There we go. Okay, and then once again, copy this over. And you see, this is the ritual, right? This is the process. Putting in note tracks by hand is a little bit painstaking, depending on what you're doing. Most people don't sit there and like, hey, let's make an entire classical song in note tracks. but it can be done, and it can be really, really nice. In fact, in the 70s and really late 60s, there were a ton of albums that were all made on synthesizers because synthesizers were such a new technology. Okay. And like the original, which was called Switched on Bach, that is, I think it's still the highest selling classical album of all time, because it was all done on synth. And they didn't have this advantage. That was all done just with recordings. So it's kind of crazy to imagine like playing one note at a time on a synthesizer and then adjusting controls while you play each note. Like that's really yikes. Okay, now I cheated there because I know what the notes are next, and I had all these notes on A, E, and A. Well, that's sort of the same, you know, configuration, distance, spacing, whatever. Um, so just drag them all down one note, one whole step. Okay. Now we are on measure bright light. We are on measure. Where are we at? We're on measure 8 right here, and I'm gonna have to find myself a new version because this version is not correct. The actual song is like 2 pages long. That is a goofball modified version. Oh, it's because it's from the Anna Magdalena notebook, which is like a kid for kids, basically, kind of a thing. Philly May, oh my gosh. Preludes and Fugues number 1 through 12, BWV 846. Sure, let's do that. We'll have to wait 15 seconds and we'll come back to it. Okay, so here we are. Where did we just come from? All right. Now this goes to C, which is funky. It's a dissonant note. E, G, C on top. Okay, so I guess what I'm trying to get at is know how to move notes around, okay? The more you do it, the better you get at it. Just like with anything else. You know, you didn't start walking as a baby and you were like, oh, I'm really good at walking now. Right? Doesn't make sense. You had to practice. You fell. You stumbled around for like months until you became more competent. And it's like that with anything. It's like that with speaking, with talking, with, learning to drive. Okay? There's a reason that kids get into more accidents than adults. It's because they don't have the experience and the skill. Simple as that. These are not talents. These are not things you're not born. I can drive. I'm the best driver as a toddler. That'd be some terrible movie. Hey, we could call it Baby Driver. Oh, wait, that exists. Ha ha ha. Sorry.
Ha ha ha. That was funny.
Okay, let's keep going. I kind of thinking I might just do the entire song here. No, not the window key. And so I keep copying it over, right? And each time I copy it over, and then this is the easiest adjustment ever. Watch, here we go. Up, done. Yep, simple. Now the next one is actually fairly substantial. This goes way down to D into an A, D again, F sharp, and C. All right, let's hear the entire thing from the beginning just for kicks. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but as I went on, I adjusted a thing. I did a thing, and that was the LFO. LFO stands for Light Funky Ones. And it's a really great boy band from the night. Just kidding. Stands for low frequency oscillator. Okay, and low frequency oscillator like vibrates up and down, but slowly. And so in this case, as slow as it goes, you can kind of hear. If I hit a note, hear it getting brighter, and then it starts getting darker again. We can crank the depth up. Now it's extreme. Okay. So we can make that, do all kinds of stuff. I mean, you can make it go fast. Super fast. All right, you can do some really weird stuff with LFOs, let me tell you. And you heard at the highest rate, it gets into something called audio rate, which is basically like it just turns it into this weird farting noise. It's great. It's good stuff. Yeah. Anyways, we don't want it like that. We want it really slow. Just so there's a subtle change. Okay. Where was I? Measure 8, measure 9, measure 10. GB. Okay, so let's pop this over. Here we go, and let's zoom in and get our notes going again. GB, D, and this should be a G, and this should be a B. Next measure is interesting. It's a really funky chord. It gets a little bit dissonant, and dissonant, by the way, those are just notes that don't go well together. Like that's less dissonant, but still a little bit. It's pretty dissonant. But what's interesting is sometimes dissonant notes, when you bridge them with other notes and blend them with other notes, now they sound good, which is kind of cool. Where were we? Okay, so this one, the B, goes to a B flat, and the D goes to an E, and then we have the G, and then we have the C sharp. Yeah. And let's continue. Holding my control key, moving, copying stuff over, double clicking to open it up, and then editing. F, A, and then we think, is it DAD? Yeah, I think it's DAD. A little muffly. Just for working purposes, I'm going to turn that up. And then here. Now I wonder what would happen if I took this entire measure here, and I just moved the previous measure over, and I just moved the whole thing down. Success! Okay, so Bach wrote in a lot of times in what's called a sequence. And a sequence is basically like you take a certain pattern of notes and then you change the place that it's at. Okay, a sequence might be like. Right, so you kind of do the same thing and then you move it to a different place and you move it to a different place. So the proportions between all of these notes are the same because the type of chord that he's making is exactly the same. Right? So here to this is here to the next thing, which is like this measure down one step. So if I take this entire thing and I just move this down to an E. False. Doesn't work. C, G, C. I guess I just had to move it down two steps instead of one. Okay. All right. So that interesting little pattern starts here. Funky, crunchy chord, nicer chord, minor chord, funky, crunchy chord to a nicer chord. Yeah. So, next stuff. Next stuff. I want to finish this whole thing, and then I'm going to add some stuff to it. I got ideas. I got ideas and plans. Plans and ideas. Yeah. E, F. A, C, F. I have to sing it because it helps my memory. I'm trying to like remember the notes without physically going to the piano right next to me and playing it. I know it's so difficult just to be like, oh, that was hard. But this helps. Now here's like the easiest copy and change in history. Here we go. Ready. This next measure. Done. There it is. There it was. And now it's gone. Forever. Oh my gosh. G D G B F. Yup. Now, by the way, do you hear the delay? It's very subtle. It's just, it kind of throws things into your left ear and your right ear, and it kind of bounces them around a little bit, but it's not super loud, which is nice. It's really nice. We crank it up. Ah, so much delay. Yeah, once again, viewers, listeners, watchers, feel free to ask questions or let me know. Hey, how's your day going? How's your quarantine going? Are you enjoying it? Um, I have to confess, I kind of actually am. Um, I've reconnected with a lot of people that I hadn't talked to in a while. Like I had a group of people that used to play games online. I used to play like Left 4 Dead and stuff. And we're back playing games again and talking, and it's really interesting. It's almost like this is what our culture should be if we weren't all so freaked out about getting stuff and going out and like, oh my god, I have to get a job and get the thing and then buy the stuff and then run. Oh my god, and like now we're like, whoa, hey, let's just chill and not go get stuff. The evils of capitalism. Can't stress it enough. Even though I love my gadgets. G C E G Is this a G again? Yes. And then this goes to a C, E. Boom, boom, boo, doo, doo. Okay. Next one. This should go to a B flat. And this should go to a G. Okay, I gotta think about this. What comes next? Ow! Alright. Giant F chord. So, we'll drag this up and down here, down to the F, and then we got that there C. No, F. And then this should be an A. And this should be a C, and this should be an E. Yes? Yes. And now we get funky. And then, is the music done yet? There it is. Chunk. And it's in Russian. Okay, where are we at? There. We're right there. And now we are right here. We are on measure 22. Okay. Boom, boom. So F sharp to C. Wait, I just had a mind blank. A? Yes? Okay, A, C, and E flat. A, C, E flat, diminished chord. Okay. Now, there's two versions of this song, and some of them have a different measure right here. Okay. So A flat to F. A flat to F. B. C. D. G. No, get them. F. Yep. And then this is just a G chord. B. D. Already there. And then the next few, we just have a really tiny transition. This just goes to an E, B, C, E. Okay. By the way, one of the great ways to practice this stuff, note tracks and stuff, and working with these MIDI tracks and things, is just to pick a dumb little song. Like, I don't know, Mary Had a Little Lamb or something. And just practice putting in notes. And be like, okay, well, here's the rhythms, here's what I do. And it helps in a lot of things. It helps for musicians who don't know how to read music that well. If you look at a piece of music and you like have to decode it, man, even if you go in and you write notes in and you're like, this is a C, this is an F, and so on, like that helps. It makes you faster at reading music, straight up. And the more you do that, the better you'll get, and you will improve way quicker than you think. It'll come fast, right? Force yourself into that kind of thing. You'll be like, oh, wow, I actually noticed the difference, maybe literally within a day or two. Coffee break. Got to refill my cup, too. There we go. Got my nice little French press right over here. Mm-hmm. Man, I wish my camera was working. How's everybody doing anyways? What's going on? What's happening? How's your brain? How's your life? Right? Okay, so this is webcam only, and this is the video capture device. What's that all about? Oh, we're gonna delete that. Probably not gonna. Yeah, there we go. So we don't want this. No, we want Logitech webcam. Zippity zippity za. Don't I have one that's already done? Video capture device, I guess. Logitech camera. There we go. And we'll just cram him in the corner there. Yeah. There we go. Now we're talking. Webcam, scene. All right. Cool. Yeah. Need it to be done. Okay. Now my amazingly shiny head will be on the screen to blind you all in its blinding shininess. Okay. Where were we? No, where were we? We were here. Oh, yeah, it's the fourths. So, G, C, F. Nice tension, which is this. And you're like, well, what's going to happen? And what's going to happen is this. Just that note moving, which is nice. Because what does that mean for our editing? That means we just move one note. Done. Easy peasy. A. No. G to E flat. A. C. F sharp. To E, G, C, G, C, G, G, C, G. Sounds like the beginning of Star Trek. Sort of. Now, here's the cool thing. Okay, so this is measure right. This is measure this. Here we are. We are on measure 29. Now, this measure and this measure are exact copies of this measure and this measure. So we can take measure 26 and 27 and stick it in 30 and 31. And we don't have to redo them at all. Now, you're find these here 26, 27. Click them both. But you can't do them there. Okay, 26 and 27. Hold control, copy them over. Just be really, really, really careful. You know, my snap is still on 16th. So if I do something goofy and I accidentally like move them like here, well, now I've chopped off notes from this one and started this whole thing early, and it's going to be a mess. So. C to shining C, because our low note is a C. And I'm going to unzoom a little bit. C. And then I'm going to zoom in here. G, B flat, E. All right, and now we get to the last two measures, or three measures technically. Okay. And this is when things get weird. Let's get weird. Not that weird. Okay. But it does get different, and this is like the only time where no, I'm gonna keep those there because I'm gonna do a thing, and this I'm just gonna nuke. Okay, now I'm gonna do one little tiny thing here on the end, just a little creative touch. I'm gonna make these last notes not hit at exactly the same time. I'm actually gonna go nuts here and turn my snapping off. And make these guys just a tiny... Oh no, what have I done? Just a tiny bit later. Okay. Maybe. I might actually... Oh god. With the freaking... Okay. I might actually, change that a little bit later. We'll see. Okay. Let's turn our snapping back on. And let's hear the whole thing. Let's see what we can do with this. So, all in all, I probably 75% of this is just copying over and changing from the measure before, right? The actual notes that I entered, like the last three measures and the first couple, that's it. Everything else is just moved and copied. And yeah, that's not cheating, that's digital. Now, wouldn't it be nice if there was some strings playing along with this? Yeah, some nice chords underneath it would be really really cool. But obviously, we don't have to get, you know, exact with this. We can do something. We can do something crazy. Let's get crazy with the cheese whiz here. Um, like that. And I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna load a preset. Not cheating, by the way. Load. Is there some like a pad? I don't know, man. There's a lot of pads. This thing is like the pad machine. Um, well, let's layer in a couple of chords first and see what happens. Okay. Now I'm gonna want my smart snap on. I'm gonna probably turn it to like. Actually, I'm gonna probably turn it to bar. Be honest. What I want to do is just have upper chords like a so. Now, what is this guy? That's cool and all, but it's not the right freaking note. Why y'all gotta tune your synths all stupid? Okay, that's dumb. That's annoying. How about this one? Okay, I like that. That's cool. That's good. That's decent. What about heavenly pad? Okay, that I like. That's really nice. Ooh, gets a little funky. Gets a little detuned. Okay, now here is the nifty thing. Let's say we wanted to take our chord here and actually use a chord for each of these measures. How could we do that? Good question. Here's what we do. We take the top one and we copy it down to the bottom one. Yes, because why not? Because notes are notes are notes. And let's say we just took like the first few and we just used those notes, those guys, and we just used those for the entire thing. Bam. Yeah. He's very nice. Yes, he's very nice. Okay. And so again, we're not cheating. We're just taking advantage of the fact that we are in a digital music environment here, and we can do stuff like this. We can be like, hey, this is the chord, this is the heart of what we're playing. Let's just extend it. And then, like, bam, bam. Okay. And again, I know the chords personally. I know them personally. We get together, we hang out. No, like I know them. I know them really well. I have the piece memorized. Um, but you could take the entire thing, the entire thing. Here's what I mean. Let's see that again from the start. You could take all of these, like all of those notes, right, and just use them. Do that. Nothing wrong with that. Push them back to the beginning, extend them out. Okay. And then we can do that honestly for this entire piece. We could just be like, okay, take my first 5 notes. There we go. First 5 notes. Bam. Move them back. Be careful you don't move them to like a new note like that, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Ugh!" Okay. So now from the beginning, here's what we got. Here's the blend. I don't know if I'm like really loving that sound yet. Maybe. I was kind of hoping for something maybe a little bit more string sounding, maybe a little bit more air, like kind of thing. Like, I don't know. We'll see. How does that one sound? I don't know. Maybe? Maybe? Pat and Choyer. No. Old strings. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you be like, hey, let's make that preset and then let's save it so other people will open it up and use it and then break their head? Um, it's actually not bad. That's not terrible. But the start is so fast. The start is too fast. It's like it's insane. Okay, and that is, by the way, something called attack. So if we look at the attack amp envelope and we turn up the attack, aha! And now it kind of fades in a little bit slower, which is nice. He's very nice, eh? All right. So we could literally just go along here. I'm going to do this in a different way, though. Okay. Again, I'm trying to kind of show the possibilities of how to work with note tracks, how to deal with stuff. If you're more of an experienced user in this kind of stuff, then you could just do this and just do the whole thing. Okay? Do the whole thing as one track. Put your snap on bar. And then you could be like, okay, here's my chord. Bam. Mm-mm. Okay, so if you notice, I'm keeping some of these notes. Okay, so like between here and here, between this measure right here, let me zoom in a little bit so you get a little bit of a better viewpoint. Okay, between this measure right here and this measure right here, the chord changes, but some of those notes don't. So rather than change them each time and like restart them, like pull those guys back and so on, and then just re-put them in there, that will sound a little abrupt. It's going to be like a pling or, whatever. You'll suddenly have a new note every measure. And like when you carry that stuff over the measure, if it's possible, it gives it a more gradual transition. It sounds nicer. Mm, Need a little bit more release on that. A little bit more. That's nice. Okay. Now I'm getting my string sounds that I was looking for. Let's get warm. Okay. So it's what is it about? It's a little over an hour right now. Okay. We've been streaming for a chunk. I think I'm gonna maybe end it here. Now I might continue this later on because this is a really nice sounding thing. I'm gonna play it from the beginning. Okay. Again, note tracks, practice. This is a skill. All right. Let's save this as Bach Quaalude, bro. Okay. Feel free to mix, download, do whatever you want. That's fine. Find me on Audiotool. I am Moog Lee. Look for the picture of the giant army ant. Ah, it's scary. All right. And then once this is done, let's listen to this puppy. Once it's done. Oh, sorry. Oh, there goes my copyright strike. There it goes. They're going to shut down my stream because I played the first stanza of Jeopardy. I wouldn't be surprised. That would be sadly hilarious and hilariously sad. Okay, it's done. Let's listen. And then that next note track ends. Okay, so okay, good to go. I think I'm gonna end the stream here. Thanks you all for watching. I don't know. I'd be like, hey, go, don't forget to subscribe, but that's not really what this is about. I'll be doing these for the next indefinite number of weeks, at least a couple of times a week. I might branch out depending on what people like or what people want. If they're looking for more stuff with like professional stuff, like I use Reason and Bitwig and things, and I make music on there. So that might be something that interests you a little bit more. We'll see. Stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button and the notification. All right, sorry, just kidding. Take it easy. Be well. Be safe.